Hello and welcome to the FatBoss Guide to Amber Shaper Unsock 25-man heroic in the heart of fear.
Yes, the heart of fear.
It's been a while since we've done one of these guides, but
It's
we are
fine.
back. We're bringing you guides now.
It'll be all done very, very shortly, and we're here today to have a look at Unsock, and it's not too different from normal mode, if I'm honest. The heroic mode, it's mainly about what you do in phase 2, but we're going to go through it phase by phase, just so everyone is clear. But if you don't know anything about this fight, and for some reason you're looking up the heroic mode, because, I don't know, you bought your account or something, then do click up on the screen now, and that'll take you over to the normal mode guide for this fight, so people won't know how much you had to buy it off of eBay for, which is good. So as we said, we're going to go through it phase by phase, and we're going to start off with phase 1, and the boss still has all the same abilities as he did on normal for phase 1, so it's very, very similar.
So that means he'll still apply the parasitic growth on a player, so make sure you don't spam heal with them, so otherwise, you know, it'll hurt like fuck. Using things like shields is really, really pro on this, so yeah, do that. He'll still do the amber scalpel, and it will still spawn the 4 ads out of the beamy thing, so just kite the beam and kill the ads. However, the living ambers have changed a bit. When they die, they'll leave their pool on the ground, and after 30 seconds the pool will despawn and the ad will reappear.
Yeah.
This means that you'll be swamped by ads almost constantly unless your monstrosity eats the pools up, and we'll talk about this in more detail in a little bit.
Now, of course, the boss will still cast Reshape Life in phase 1, and this only applies to your tank still, like as it does in phase 1. Now, we're going to quickly go over the moves to refresh your memory. Amber Strike is bound to 1, you know, it's a single target one that interrupts, and also gives you that 10% damage increase of 15 seconds. Struggle for Control is bound to 2, which interrupts yourself from, you know, it stops you casting Amber Explosion, but it does cost 8 willpower. Consume Amber is bound to 3, and this eats a living pool, and gives you 20 willpower back, and it also heals you, for, like, by a lot, like 6.3 million, it heals you for a very, very high amount. And break free is bound to 4, which is when you're below 20% HP, you can get the fuck out. So there you go, you don't have any sort of reason not to remember them now. Now, the mutated constructs, the amber constructs in this phase, should do exactly what you did on normal. Just as you are a tank, just DPS the shit out of the boss. However, because of this living amber pool resurgence sort of thing going on, you are going to have to consume these, otherwise people, it's just going to get like a fucking, there's going to be so many of them, it's going to be uncontrollable. What you should do, every time you're Reshape Life, you should go and eat 4 pools, which means that you're going to be healed up for 6.3 million 4 times as well. This means your DPS is going to have to be shit hot on you, but you won't be swamped with a fuck ton of ambers. Also, if you are fixated by a living amber while it's alive, it's kind of nice to bring it into like close to melee range or in melee range of the tank, as long as the healers are okay with it, because of course it does do a bit of splash damage, so he doesn't have to run really far away, and then of course he can just keep putting living amber strikes on the boss himself, and that just makes it nice and easy.
So you just want to repeat what you've done from normal mode, more or less. Just make sure you're dealing with those oozes as well, though. And once the boss does hit 70% HP, phase 2 will start. And you want to try and go into this phase without any tanks in the construct. If one is inside the construct, you need to get them out very, very quickly, because it does kind of fuck up timers and stuff like that. So make sure you get those people out as soon as you possibly can. Now, in this footage you see right now, the boss does actually transition at 65% health. That's because he's casting an amber scalpel just as he transitioned, allowing the raid to do a little bit more damage to him before he transitioned. If you're able to do this,
it's alright.
It's a bit, I mean, it's going to help a little bit.
There's no point stalling for 20 seconds to allow this to happen, but if it does happen, that's quite nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's a little bit of a bonus.
On the back. Now, going into phase 2, this is where it is so different. Every single guild, like loads of people have loads of different ways of doing phase 2, and we're going to explain a way that just kind of universally works, sort of thing, so you can try it out and you might think, maybe we can do this instead. Do try and like muck about this, but this is the basics of what you really need to do. Now in phase 2, the same thing happens as normal mode. The big amber monstrosity comes out, and of course your tanks have to pick both of them up, and the boss does apply the 99% damage reduction on himself, and will no longer cast Reshape Life on the tanks unless there's no other players available, which means you fucked up. So that won't happen. When somebody is reshaped into a construct, you still want to be eating those 4 pools each, so you can keep those living amber pools down, because of course you don't want shit tons of them, especially in the last phase when the damage is very high. So you've got to make sure you keep eating like the tanks did in phase 1. Now, of course, the monstrosity himself is going to be doing his amber explosion, and this is really where things get very complicated, because you also want to be stacking the amber strikes onto Unsock, so when you get into phase 3, it's over very quickly, because phase 3 is a pain in the cunt. So really, it's all about, should I interrupt now, or should I allow the healers to, like, should I let it through and let the healers deal with it? Like, you've got to, of course, prearrange this before the raid. Like, what some people do, they make sure that the first 2 amber explosions from the monstrosity, the big fucker, is interrupted. So, and then from the rest of it, for the rest of that phase, they just cool down the rest of his explosions and then just stack on Unsock. Or some people, they try and wing it by stacking on Unsock the whole time and only switching to interrupt. However, this can lead, because of timers and stuff, it can lead for your stack to drop, which is a very risky way, because then you've just lost all that time putting those stacks up on Unsock. What I would recommend, really, if your healers are okay with it, then you do want to just interrupt a couple of them, get quite a few stacks on him, get him nice and low, and then just stack up on Unstock the whole time. Just get as many stacks as you possibly can up on Unstock, so when you are in phase 3, boom, it's gone. However, there are guilds that they bring 3 tanks and make sure that 1 tank comes into the transition as a construct and then have that tank stack up the whole time. There's so many different ways of doing this fight, and it's really what you feel that you should do, to be honest.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's just about where you want the stacks. I mean, you can stack up on the Amber Monstrosity and get him down very quick and interrupt all the Amber explosions, but that means you're going to have to deal with the boss who will have low stacks in the last phase, which means he's not going to die very quickly. So it's how you feel, really. I mean, we advise that you do try and interrupt every single one and try and stack on both of them, but mainly Unsock, and then just try and just slowly deal with phase 2 as well as you possibly can. Chaining healing cooldowns, all that kind of shit, and just going into the last phase with like a bazillion fucking stacks on Unsock.
So yeah, for phase 2, do whatever the hell you want with the stacks. Just make sure that you do get those people out, of course, so they can come out eventually. Make sure you eat those 4 pulls, and then just, of course, kill the monstrosity, and then phase 3 will happen. In phase 3, there's a shit ton more damage, and you want to also be going into this phase with as little puddles on the ground as possible, if you've got high stacks on Unsock, because if there's no, because the boss should die because of his high stacks going in before anyone loses the willpower like beforehand, so he should be dead before
He'll
the first
die
construct.
incredibly quickly, providing you have the correct amount of stacks.
Exactly. Now in phase 3, nothing else is different apart from one new ability, which is called Amber Globule. Now what happens is that 2 orange orbs spawn at either side of the room and will fixate on a target each, so they each pick a player. Then they'll start running towards those players, and if they hit a player, they'll do 600k damage AoE within 30 yards, which is, yeah, you're gonna fucking die. You've just ruined it after the lovely phase 2 you had, because you worked it out, and then, oh right, yeah, you fucked it up. What you need to do is make them meet in a Sinestra sort of style, using like you kite them, and if they hit each other, they just go, dissipate completely.
You kind of make them overlap.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do, and that's the only new thing. So just make sure you watch your debuff, and maybe make it so you set a place, like you might set a marker which you both want to make them kind of overlap on, and do that. They just run in a straight line, and it's very, very simple. It's very easy to tell who's got fixated as well, especially with stuff like DBM and big wigs and stuff like that. But that's the only thing you need to do. Otherwise, nuke the shit out of the boss before he kills you, and then that's it. Then he's dead.
So just to summarise the fight, it's all about phase 2. The more stacks you have on the boss, the quicker he'll die in the last phase, and then, yeah, it's really that simple.
Yeah.
So if you perfect phase 2, won't have a problem.
Exactly. So if this guide did help you out, then please do give it a thumbs up. It does help us out quite a lot, and make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see other 25-man heroic guides, then please do click up on the annotations you see on your screen now. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you.